Hello guys, and welcome to Doctor Who Review. So we're going to be talking about An Unearthly Child. 5 categories, but not as per usual. We've changed it slightly. Classic era, you know, changing things. So, quick rundown of the categories. Storyline and concept, as usual. Character portrayal, as usual. Antagonist impression, which is... I changed the name slightly. It's essentially the same thing. I changed the name slightly because it more suits the classic era. Not every antagonist is a monster. Here's a majorly new one, visual effects. So this one is also fitting in with the classic era, since the classic era is well renowned for not having the best in terms of visual effects, and also then, of course, personal enjoyment. And the first category is, of course, as I said, storyline and concept. It's a very good storyline and concept. It is something which sets up the whole idea of Doctor Who very, very well. And if you didn't know, An Unearthly Child is the very first episode of Doctor Who. It says, we've introduced a man and a girl, and we're not going to tell you everything straight up. We're going to sort of like infer some things, and we're going to sort of like create a bit of mystery, sort of like with the Chameleon Circuit. They had, it's not meant to be like this, it's not meant to be a police box. That's changed, that's odd, that's new. And the way it sets up the mystery is very well done. As for like the whole story as a whole, I mean, the concept of going back into the olden times isn't exactly new. Even though it was set in it was 1960s, it is still something which even then had been done before. But as a whole, just the storyline was immense, and it's something which it's hard for me not to like An Unearthly Child, and that comes into personal enjoyment a bit. So I'm going to give storyline and concept a 4 out of 5. Character portrayal, most of them were brilliant. Aside from the cavemen, although they were fairly caveman-like, it was... I didn't really gel with them. You could see that they were cavemen, but I wasn't entirely convinced. Yet again, that's partially down to it being the 1960s. As for the human characters, and also the regular characters I should say, Barbara was alright. I mean, she did play the role very well. Ian Chesterton is one of the best characters from the episode, and I think he portrayed it really well. The whole not getting it, questioned and everything, which is something which is valid, or is liked within a companion, just going, well, why? The Doctor, yet again, setting up mystery, which is good, because we like mysterious doctors, don't we, Moffat? As a whole, the characters were very good, aside from the caveman. Susan, a little bit here and there. I mean, she did set up mystery, but not quite as much as the Doctor, but she was still a very good character. I'm going to give character portrayal a 3.5 out of 5. Antagonist impression, that sounds really weird to say. We're going to take the antagonist, like it's difficult to say that there's an antagonist in this story, since it's mainly just setting up the whole thing. The antagonist in this I'm going to take as the caveman. There wasn't much of a threat, and that is something which, like, I wasn't entirely convinced. Yes, the threat was there. I mean, if they didn't make fire, which the Doctor lost his matches, then they would be stranded and die in several thousands of years in the past. And that's sort of threatening, but it wasn't the greatest. And if we're going to review classic era critically, not really that much. I'm going to give antagonist impression a 2.5 out of 5. Visual effects, it's good actually, ish. For 1960s it is still very good. And considering a low budget, if you've got the TARDIS takeoff scene, that's one of my favourite visual effects of the whole serial. The visual effects were light, and so I can't really say much about the visual effects, but they were good for 1960s. Marish now, but still for me as a classic fan, I would say that it is still very good. So I'm going to give that a 3.5 out of 5. And finally, personal enjoyment. No Twitter this time because it doesn't really make sense. But personally for me, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and that's all I can say really. I really enjoyed the episode, and I'm trying to be critical here because obviously I don't want it to be a case of where I'm giving every episode 5 5s out of 5 and therefore it being a 5. I want to actually be critical and say, well, that didn't do too well, hence the change of the categories. So now time to do some scoring. And an average of 3.5 out of 5. So that's starting it for the classic era. Now here's a new bit. Generally, I've got a lot of episodes and I don't know which one to do next. So this is the time when you, lads in the comments section, go down below. Which one do you want me to review next? I may not have it, but I will see whether I can try to review it and watch it and do all that stuff. So yeah, anyway guys, thanks so much for watching. I've been Ballum. This is the end credits. Signing off. All that's left is a window to my soul. Come and get it.